Welcome back, guys, to We Talk Boxing. And today I'm going to be discussing Conor Benn. Do you know what I mean? And, the crazy week that, he's gone through, and obviously in regards to everything. And, yeah, it's just been a mental week, really. But this is my thoughts, do you know what I mean, in regards to the whole situation. And what it means now, for Conor Benn, because realistically his world's going to be tipped pretty much upside down. And you know what I mean? I don't feel for him because at the end of the day, he is an athlete. Do you know what I mean? And he's got all these people around him who, would have been checking all his supplements and meal preps and, advising him on what certain things to take and put in your body, etc., etc. So realistically, compared to, your amateur boxer who hasn't got half of the, probably not even half, like hasn't got any resources like what Conor Benn has. He has it all, and obviously he's fucked up. Do you know what I mean? And obviously it was a VADA test. Do you know what I mean? Which came back. It was a sample A. Do you know what I mean? And it's quite weird because even though it was a voluntary test, do you know what I mean? Like him and his team possibly should have known that. You know what I mean? Like why take the test? You know what I mean? If you guys know that you've been popping or doping or something. Do you know what I mean? So it's quite weird because in my mind, you know what I mean, I'm kind of thinking like, did he really know about it? Because realistically, if it was me, for example, and obviously I've been taking this like fertility drug, etc. Do you know what I mean? And obviously I had to do a VADA test or whatever. I'm not gonna do it. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna try and get out of it as best as I can. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it is VADA. It wasn't compulsory. Do you know what I mean? The only thing that potentially would happen at that point of view is, you know what I mean? Obviously, VADA would have probably sent a message or word to obviously the British governing body one, you know what I mean, UCAD, and obviously they would have potentially went round his house and looked to have done one, but that would have still maybe bide him some time to try and clear as much of it out of his system. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to stick up for him or whatever, but that's potentially if it's me, if I knew I'd been taking it, you know what I mean, I would have tried to have got out of it somehow and not have done it. So it's quite interesting to, you know what I mean, to kind of think, like, did he really know about it? Do you know what I mean? And if he did, he's stupid for taking the test. And you know what I mean, if he didn't know about it, then it's a shame because him and his team should have known about it. And I've been listening and watching loads of interviews, you know what I mean, from loads of guys in regards to PEDs and stuff like that in sport and boxing, etc. But you know what I mean, I think you know what I mean the gist is, you know what I mean, 95% of the time, sample B will come back positive. Do you know what I mean? And what could we say? You know what I mean? Obviously, Conor Benn, he needs to try and clear his name. Do you know what I mean? And for me, the only way to try and clear your name would be to try and get that B sample tested, to kind of prove it. But you know what I mean? If he knows he's been taking that obviously fertility drug, he's not gonna get it done. Do you know what I mean? And if there's an off chance that you know what I mean he didn't know about it, but somehow it got in his system, do you know what I mean? Then they're still not going to do it anyway because it's going to come back positive. And as a lot of these experts have said, sample B usually does come back positive. And for Conor Benn now, you know what I mean? He's looking what 2 to 4 year ban. It's mental. It's a crazy long amount of time out of his career. Do you know what I mean? 2 years, I reckon he'll probably end up getting because obviously, he's got not a lot of sway, but obviously his father's name and you know what I mean, his promoter Eddie Hearn and stuff like that. They will plead and make a case to say, oh, he's a young man, etc. He's got a lot to still give in the sport. He will learn from these lessons, etc. You know what I mean? Don't give him 4 years. You know what I mean? Try and bring the case down to 2 years. Blah blah blah. And maybe some sort of fine or whatever, you know what I mean, that you'll have to pay. So, you know what I mean, a big compensation fine or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But I reckon in the end, he'll probably only get 2 years. Do you know what I mean? But where does this leave the Eubank versus Ben fight? Because obviously, you know what I mean, Eddie Hearn has said as well that this fight can still go ahead. I honestly don't think it will. Do you know what I mean? I think now, you know what I mean? Obviously, that was the opportunity for this Ben to, sorry, that was the opportunity for this fight to happen. I feel as if now Ben would, sorry, not Ben, Eubank's just gonna go now and, you know what I mean, concentrate on his career, and who knows? Do you know what I mean? If he has a bad run, do you know what I mean? Or maybe towards the end of his career or something, and he's looking for, you know what I mean, just one last fight, a bit like what Amir Khan and Kell Brook did, then he might, you know what I mean, call out Ben after, you know what I mean, he's back fighting and he's rebuilt himself up, etc., to try and have that fight. But honestly, I just don't think this fight happens. Do you know what I mean? And it's a shame because I was kind of looking forward to it. You know what I mean? I wanted to, you know what I mean, see the clash of styles. Obviously, the young, hungry man in Ben, and do you know what I mean? The solid, durable, you know what I mean, experienced boxer in Eubank. I thought it was going to be a brilliant fight, and I did have Eubank, you know what I mean, down to, you know what I mean, for winning the fight because I just thought he was too big and too experienced. But I was still intrigued. Do you know what I mean? But as I said earlier, do you know what I mean? Like Conor Benn, he has to try and clear his name, and the only way to do that, you know what I mean, is to have that sample, that B sample tested. Do you know what I mean? Even if there is an off chance that, you know what I mean, like they did know about it, and you know what I mean, it's, you know what I mean, or it got in his system. He has to have that sample tested. Do you know what I mean? To try and hopefully prove to the British public that he's not a cheat, because he stated that he's not a cheat. You know what I mean, in an interview since. Do you know what I mean? But in regards to him, do you know what I mean? I don't know where he goes because he's 26. He's gonna have potentially 2, maybe 4 years out, which he'll either be 28 or 30 years of age. Do you know what I mean? Is he still going to be in the gym? Is he still going to be fighting? Is he still going to be trying to improve his craft? Knowing that, you know what I mean, he could train and stuff, but he can't have a competitive fight. Do you know what I mean? Is he, you know what I mean, is he still going to have the hunger? And I suppose there is, you know what I mean, other alternative options in potentially having underground or maybe unsanctioned fights, you know what I mean, in different countries, which could potentially keep him, you know what I mean, fight fit and, you know what I mean, just kind of feed that hunger sort of thing. So that is an option there. But this is not just going to affect his actual boxing career inside the ring. It's going to affect it outside as well, in regards to all his sponsorship deals that he's potentially got as well. A lot of those are going to be faded away. But also as well, a lot of the commentatory work that he does, because he does a lot for the zone. You know what I mean? I can't see him doing any commentating events in the near future. You know what I mean? For a while. Do you know what I mean? And I'm probably saying at least 6, maybe to 12 months. You know what I mean? Because Eddie Hearn and that are going to try and let the dust settle before obviously trying to rebuild their man. And obviously, if they try and get a court case or whatever, you know what I mean, to try and push things through, try and speed things through, let's say early next year, January wise, and obviously he gets found guilty, to give him 2 years, etc. That 2 year ban will start from then. Do you know what I mean? And then we'll potentially finish, you know what I mean, 2000 and obviously 25. But you know, as I says, it's going to affect a lot. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts. This is just my thoughts, you know what I mean? Just a random one, really, just to give you my thoughts about the whole situation. It's mental, and I just can't believe it's happened. And obviously, it's unbelievable. But the one thing I have to say is that us public, we didn't know nothing. Do you know what I mean? But all of them guys, you know what I mean, both camps, both promoters, they all knew. Do you know what I mean? And they just took the piss, really. They just took the piss out of the general public, and you know what I mean. They've got a lot to answer for, which they're not gonna, and it's a shame. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, you know what I mean. It's one of them. As always, please subscribe, like, and comment, and share for more boxing related content. Bless.